Hi, this is Michaela. Today I'm going to talk about TTFVO, which is the 5 things that we really need to focus on when we're trying to be a great woodwind player. So first of all, TTFVO stands for tone, tongue, fingers, vibrato, and overtones. So I'm just going to start off with tone. I think tone's probably, if not the most important, very close to the most important of all 5 of these letters. The tone really affects all of the other aspects that we need to focus on. So the first thing that I like to focus is our middle range on the flute, since it's easier for most people to play. It's easier to understand and it's easier to get in tune. So I like to start off in the middle range. For example, I like to start off on G. So normally what I would do in order to warm up or just focus on getting a great warm tone is to just play long tones. So I would start on G and then maybe move down to F sharp, then move to F, etc. Keep going down until you get to as low as you can get, whether it's the C or the D or whatnot, and then do the opposite but going up. So go from G to A flat to A, etc. So, some things to think about before we do that though. For lower notes, we want to make sure that we point the air down into the tone hole more so that it's hitting the back wall. We don't want to like push all of our air over the flute hole, because otherwise nothing's gonna come out and we're probably gonna get a higher overtone, if that tends to happen. Also, just make sure your face is relaxed. I'm a brass player, so I know that I tend to squeeze up when I'm trying to get higher. So if that's a habit that you might have, just make sure that you think of that and make sure that your mouth and embouchure is very relaxed, since there's no pressing or anything involved. Also, just for fun, it's good to tune to a concert A, so just our normal A, just one step up from G. It really helps to get a more balanced sound. It helps tune the whole instrument itself and all of its notes. And ideas for changing pitch. So one way is to roll the head joint in or out. I try to stay away from that only because it's I feel like it's the easy way out. It's good, but I don't want to rely on it most of the time. So another thing that we can do is to drop the jaw to lower the pitch, and then in order to raise it, we can like bring the teeth closer together. So that's a way to think about that. Alright, so I'll explain sort of what we're going to do for the exercise to get tone. So we'll start on our G, and then we'll go down to F, and then, or F sharp, and then F, etc. So we'll hold the note out until we feel like we get the center of the sound. Once we get the center of the sound, hold that out for 4 beats, and then move. You can breathe whenever you need to. That's just the way I like to do it. So I'll show you how that might sound. Etc. I know I struggle a lot with keeping a really good, just consistent tone. A good way to think of that is to think of a more buzzy sound that provides more resonance throughout the instrument. I really struggle with this, but I know that that's a good way of trying to fix like bad tone quality in the flute, or incorrect air support and stuff like that. That's another thing that you really need to focus on when focusing on tone is the air support. You need a lot of air, and you just need to focus on taking in as much air as you can when you start the note, because once you do that, you're able to push through the note instead of starting it weak and then going farther but running out of air. So those are kind of my ways to think of tone. I think another important thing is to listen to players with good tone, and to just try and keep your jaw open and think of O when you're in the lower register, like OH, O. And then for middle register, think ah, so you're tightening a little bit. And then ooh for the high register, so your aperture is actually smaller for ooh. Ooh. O. Ah. You can tell that the aperture changes size with in between all of those. So that's my plan for tone. So I'm actually going to move on to overtones next, since I think that's a good segue. So we'll do that in a minute.